always dreamed of a place with open spaces, a place where you can enjoy the simple pleasures of life, really feel like you're getting back to nature. I was about 9 and yeah, I rode quite a lot when I was young, but not in riding clubs, gymkhanas, that kind of thing. I just rode when I got the opportunity. I used to skive off school when I was about 15 and go back to my scout hut where there are 2 or 3 horses in the field next door. And I spent a lot of time riding bareback on these horses around the field. I even got to jump bareback then, but that was when I was 15. I don't jump at all now. Portugal's famous for both its horses and its riders. We have a very prized breed of horse, the Lusitania horse, which is known for its stamina and its intelligence. And all of my horses aren't purebred or champions, but they've all got a lot of that blood in them, and that's what gives them their stamina. We've lived in Portugal for 20-odd years. When we first went to Ferragudo, it was a little village, there were no tarmac roads, plenty of countryside. So the people of Ferragudo want development, they want to have a lot more jobs and prosperity. And they've developed the area to such an extent that riding horses is not a practical option. But out here we have unlimited space. I think this is the largest area I know without, we've got to be in a 15-kilometre triangle without a single bit of tarmac inside of it. There's a lovely lake just 10 minutes ride from here, which is set in a valley. The wildflowers are phenomenal. I've never seen anyone else there. Up behind the farmhouse on the very highest bit of land, we can see the sea around 270 degrees. Towards the north direction of Val d'Isère, you see what we call the west coast. We have 9 horses, 8 mares, and the Rastaman was our stallion, now without. He's probably my favourite. He's small and stocky, but he can carry me for 2 or 3 hours and still be quite happy to gallop uphill. The mares, they're all a different bunch. They range in age from 4 years to 20 years. We've got a bunch of horses now that we find are very stable. The biggest point we look for is stamina. It's very hilly around here, and if you're going to tow 200 kilos underweight the jig uphill, you have to be a strong horse. Our horses can go on for, well, we wouldn't ride them for more than an hour and a half without a break. Usually we have a few 5-minute stops in between. After an hour and a half, 2 hours, we take the saddles off, give them a little time to eat a bit, stretch their legs, and then they go back. We can ride all day, and the next day they're still ready to work again. My attraction with the horses is principally directed towards carriage driving, and what I really want to create here is a carriage driving centre where people can be introduced to the sport, learn it in safety, because we don't have to cope with cars. We're not going to disturb anybody. The whole area is deserted. At the moment we have 3 carriages that we're using to teach people to drive in. We have a 2-wheel jig, a jig Lux as it was described on the original prospectus. We have a 4-wheel 6-person jardinière which can be pulled by 1 or 2 horses. And we have a traditional Portuguese gypsy carriage which is slightly more complicated, although it's very old and authentic, looks the part. It's not so comfortable, the springs aren't so great, and the brakes are the old-fashioned wind at the side. You lean over and start turning a wheel in an anti-clockwise direction, and you hope to God that it will start to slow the carriage down before the horse gets totally out of control. Carriage driving is a hobby which can appeal to all. It's as exciting and as exhilarating as riding a horse. If you go on a two-wheel jig with a strong horse at a full gallop down a narrow country lane, and the trees are knocking you left, right and centre, and you're bouncing around all over the place, by the time you finish your gallop, your heart is pounding away. The adrenaline is up. You have to try it. You really have to try it. I love to combine the pleasures of eating with the pleasures of riding or driving. We offer a variety of rides at different times of the day. They all seem to end or begin with a nice lunch. You can go. It's very pleasant to go out early in the morning and come back to the farm here and have a great farmhouse barbecued luncheon. It's also nice to arrive here in lunchtime, sit down to a pleasant lunch and then go for a ride in the cool of the evening. We find that picnic rides are very popular. We've got a couple of hampers which we can put on the back of the carriages, and a couple of hours riding to a nice little river valley. There's a few small waterfalls and wells, the beach. We ride off somewhere, make the horses comfortable, take off the saddles, take them out of the harnesses, let the horses have a bit of a rest because they've done the work, and then sit in the long grass, in the sun, or the shade if it's that hot, and unpack the bag and find out what they've done for us. And as you know, the food all comes mostly from the kin to the horses' kitchens. Quiches are superb. The cold meats and the salads. You develop a real appetite, a real hearty appetite when you're riding. We are very fortunate in as much as our nearest neighbour, who's half a mile away across the valley, is a hotel, a 10-room hotel, very comfortable, fantastic views and incredibly quiet. That's one end of the market. They have a nice pool. It's also very easy to rent villas. There are a lot of foreign property owners who rent their villas in the area. We can arrange a riding holiday either where you stay at a hotel, with a neighbouring hotel. If you're on a budget, we can move you a bit farther afield to some very nice little pensions. I hope people look for the same sort of things as me. The space, as I said before, is unbeatable. The areas that we can ride in, the climate is great. Midsummer it can be a bit hot midday, but then you go off down the beach. We're only 6 miles as the crow or the eagle flies from the sea here. If it's too hot to ride in the middle of the day, a few hours lying on the beach is no great hardship. The new Forest Lodge as a centre for horse riding and carriage driving is ideal. We have such a range of terrain that we can cover from here. This really is my dream place. If people feel they'd like to come and share the open spaces and beautiful countryside, then I shall be very happy.